Most people think McDonald's became rich by selling burgers. And honestly, it sounds reasonable. They're everywhere. Every city, every highway, every airport, millions of customers, millions of meals. So, naturally, people assume more burgers equals more money. But the truth is much more interesting. Because burgers alone don't explain why McDonald's became a giant. To understand the story, we need to go back. Back to a small restaurant opened by two brothers, Richard and Morris McDonald. Their goal was simple: serve food faster than everyone else. At that time, restaurants were slow. Customers waited, workers wasted time. Everything felt inefficient. The McDonald brothers saw an opportunity. They simplified everything. A smaller menu, faster service, lower costs, and customers loved it. Business exploded. The restaurant became incredibly successful, but there was one problem. Success in one location doesn't automatically create an empire, and that's where another man entered the story, a salesman named Ray Kroc. Ray wasn't rich, he wasn't famous, but he noticed something special. When he saw the restaurant, he immediately understood its potential. Most people saw a restaurant. Ray Kroc saw a system, and systems can scale. That's a lesson many entrepreneurs never learn. Products are good. Systems are better because products depend on effort. Systems create consistency. Ray Kroc believed this restaurant could exist everywhere, not just in one city, not just in one state, but across an entire country, and eventually across the world. So he convinced the brothers to franchise the business. At first, everything looked amazing. New restaurants opened, customers arrived, revenue grew, the brand became stronger. But Ray discovered a huge problem, a problem that would completely change McDonald's future. Franchise owners were making money, restaurants were making money, but the company itself wasn't making enough. And if that continued, growth would eventually slow down. Most businesses would accept this situation, but Ray Kroc didn't. Because he understood something important. The biggest opportunities are often hidden inside the business model, not the product. The product attracts attention, the business model creates wealth, and that's when McDonald's discovered the secret that changed everything. A secret so powerful that, decades later, business schools still teach it. The realization was simple. McDonald's wasn't just selling food, it was controlling locations. And locations are valuable. Very valuable. Think about it. Why do successful McDonald's restaurants always seem to be in perfect spots? Near highways, near busy roads, near shopping centers, near places with constant traffic. That's not luck, it's strategy. Because the real asset wasn't the burger, the real asset was the land. And once Ray Kroc understood that, everything changed. The company started buying property, then leasing it to franchise owners. Suddenly, McDonald's wasn't only collecting franchise fees, it was collecting rent. Now imagine that happening thousands of times, across thousands of locations, across multiple countries. The business became much stronger. Because real estate creates predictable income, and predictable income creates stability. That's when McDonald's stopped thinking like a restaurant and started thinking like an empire. And what happened next would turn a fast food chain into one of the most powerful businesses on earth. At first glance, McDonald's looks like a restaurant company. People walk in, order burgers, buy fries, drink soda, and leave. Simple. But beneath the surface, something much bigger was happening. Something most customers ever noticed. Because while everyone was focused on food, McDonald's was focused on land. Ray Kroc understood a powerful truth. Restaurants come and go, but great locations remain valuable. Think about the busiest McDonald's you've ever seen. It's probably near a highway, a busy road, a shopping center, or a crowded city area. That's not an accident. Every location is carefully chosen, because location affects everything. More visibility, more customers, more sales, more profit. And Ray Kroc knew that controlling locations meant controlling the future. So McDonald's started buying land, a lot of land. Then something brilliant happened. Instead of simply letting franchise owners find their own property, McDonald's owned the property itself and then rented it to franchise owners. Now think about that for a second. Most restaurant companies depend heavily on food sales. McDonald's had another source of income: rent. Every month, from thousands of locations. Whether burger sales were amazing or average, rent still arrived. This changed the entire game. Suddenly, McDonald's wasn't only a restaurant business, it became a real estate business. And real estate has advantages. Property often increases in value over time. Prime locations become even more valuable. And unlike burgers, land doesn't expire. This created a powerful business model, one that competitors struggled to copy. Because opening a restaurant is easy, building a global real estate empire is not. As years passed, McDonald's kept expanding. More restaurants, more locations, more property, more rent. Every new restaurant strengthened the system, and the system became the company's greatest asset. This is where many entrepreneurs learn an important lesson. The obvious product is not always the real business. People think Disney sells movies, but Disney sells intellectual property. People think Apple sells phones, but Apple sells an ecosystem. And people think McDonald's sells burgers. But McDonald's built a powerful real estate machine. The burger attracts the customer. The property creates the empire. That's a huge difference, because products can change, consumer trends can change, but strategic assets create long-term strength. Ray Kroc wasn't asking, "How do we sell more burgers?" He was asking, "How do we build a business that survives for decades?" And that question changed everything. Most businesses focus on revenue. Great businesses focus on assets. Revenue pays today's bills. Assets create tomorrow's wealth. McDonald's built assets, thousands of them, across cities, across states, across countries. And each new location made the company stronger. Eventually, competitors realized what was happening. But by then, McDonald's had a massive advantage. The best locations were already taken. The system was already established. The brand was already trusted. The empire was already growing. This is why business is often about leverage. One smart decision can create results for decades. And buying land turned out to be one of the smartest decisions in McDonald's history. But the story doesn't end there, because owning property alone wasn't enough. The real magic happened when McDonald's combined real estate with franchising. And together, those two systems created one of the most powerful business models ever built. In the next part, we'll see how franchising helped McDonald's spread across the world while using other people's money, other people's effort, and other people's time. And that's where the empire truly exploded. By now, McDonald's had something powerful: a growing brand, great locations, and a business model that was becoming stronger every year. But Ray Kroc faced a problem, a very big problem. If McDonald's wanted to open thousands of restaurants, who would pay for them? Building restaurants is expensive, buying equipment is expensive, hiring employees is expensive, managing everything is expensive, and even a successful company has limits. Ray Kroc knew something important. If McDonald's paid for every new restaurant itself, growth would be slow, very slow. So he looked for another solution, a smarter solution, and that solution was franchising. Now here's what makes franchising so powerful. Imagine you create a successful business. Instead of opening every location yourself, you allow other people to open locations using your system. They invest the money, they hire the workers, they manage daily operations, and in return, they use your brand, your processes, and your reputation. That's exactly what McDonald's did. Suddenly, expansion became much easier because McDonald's wasn't using only its own resources anymore. It was using the resources of thousands of entrepreneurs. Think about how powerful that is. Every new franchise owner wanted success. Every franchise owner worked hard. Every franchise owner invested money. And every franchise owner helped the McDonald's brand grow. This created a huge advantage. Most companies grow using their own effort. McDonald's grew using the effort of thousands of motivated business owners. That's leverage. And leverage changes everything. The average customer doesn't notice this. They see a restaurant, a menu, a burger, but behind the scenes, a massive system is operating, a system designed to scale. The beauty of franchising is consistency. No matter where you go, the experience feels familiar. A customer in one city expects the same quality as a customer in another city. That's why systems matter. People trust consistency, and trust creates customers. The McDonald's system became incredibly detailed. Every process was documented, every step was measured, every operation was standardized. The goal wasn't creativity, the goal was predictability. Predictable businesses are easier to scale, and scalable businesses create empires. Soon, McDonald's restaurants began appearing everywhere. Cities, towns, highways, airports, shopping centers. The brand became impossible to ignore. Every new restaurant strengthened the network. Every new customer strengthened the brand. Every new franchise strengthened the business. And then, something interesting happened. The larger McDonald's became, the easier growth became, because success attracts success. Customers trust popular brands. Investors trust successful companies. Entrepreneurs want proven systems. Growth started feeding itself. This is called momentum, and momentum is one of the most powerful forces in business. At first, growth is difficult. Then growth becomes easier. Then growth becomes automatic. That's exactly what happened to McDonald's. The company reached a point where the brand itself became an asset. People already knew the name, already trusted the product, already understood what to expect. That trust was worth billions. Most businesses spend years trying to build trust. McDonald's built it at a global scale, and once trust exists, customers return again and again. That's why the golden arches became so valuable. They weren't just a logo, they represented familiarity, speed, consistency, and reliability. Now think about what McDonald's had created. It owned valuable real estate. It earned rent from franchise owners, it collected franchise fees, and it operated one of the strongest brands in the world. This wasn't just a restaurant company anymore. It was a business machine, a machine designed for growth, a machine designed for scale, and a machine designed to survive. But perhaps the biggest lesson isn't about burgers, or real estate, or franchising. It's about systems. Because systems are what separate small businesses from giant companies. Most people focus on working harder. Successful businesses focus on building better systems. And McDonald's became one of the greatest examples of that principle. By combining real estate, franchising, branding, and consistency, it created an empire that few companies could ever match. But the most important lesson is still ahead. Because the reason McDonald's became so powerful isn't just what it sells. It's how it thinks. And that lesson applies to anyone trying to build wealth, whether you own a business or not. In the next part, we'll uncover the biggest business lesson from McDonald's and why it can completely change the way you think about money. By now, you've probably realized something. McDonald's didn't become a giant because of burgers. It became a giant because it understood something most people never do: the difference between income and assets. Most people spend their lives chasing income, a bigger paycheck, a bigger bonus, a higher salary, and while there's nothing wrong with earning more money, income alone rarely creates wealth. Because income depends on you. If you stop working, the income often stops too. Assets are different. Assets continue producing value long after the work is done. That's why wealthy people think differently. They don't just ask, "How much money can I make?" They ask, "What can I own?" McDonald's understood this lesson decades ago. The burger business created income, the real estate created assets, and assets create long-term wealth. This is one of the biggest reasons many businesses struggle. They're focused only on today's sales, not tomorrow's value. Imagine two people. The first person earns $1,000, then spends it. The second person earns $1,000, then uses it to buy something that generates future income. A year later, their lives look very different. One consumed, the other invested, and over time, small differences become huge differences. That's exactly what McDonald's did. Every new property became another asset. Every new location increased the value of the system. Every smart decision strengthened the empire, and eventually the company became much larger than the product it sold. This idea appears everywhere. The richest businesses often own valuable assets, not just products. Think about it. Hotels own property, technology companies own intellectual property, media companies own attention, and McDonald's owns some of the most valuable commercial locations in the world. The lesson isn't about food. The lesson is about ownership. Because ownership changes everything. When you own something valuable, time starts working for you. Money starts working for you. Systems start working for you. Most people focus on earning. The wealthy focus on building, and builders create assets. This is why Ray Kroc's vision was so powerful. He wasn't thinking about the next month. He wasn't thinking about the next year. He was thinking decades ahead. And that's another lesson hidden inside the McDonald's story. Long-term thinking beats short-term thinking. Again and again, most people want results immediately. They want success quickly. They want rewards today. But the biggest rewards often belong to people willing to wait, the people willing to build, the people willing to think bigger. McDonald's didn't become a global empire overnight. It happened one location at a time, one system at a time, one decision at a time. And that's how most success stories happen. Not through one giant breakthrough, but through thousands of small decisions made correctly, day after day, year after year. This is why patience is such a powerful advantage. Because most people quit too early. They stop before momentum arrives. They stop before the system works. They stop before the rewards appear. McDonald's kept going, and eventually the results became impossible to ignore. Today, millions of people see the burgers, but very few people see the strategy. Very few people see the systems. Very few people see the assets. And that's why the story matters. Because the biggest opportunities are often hidden beneath the surface. The obvious thing isn't always the important thing. The burger wasn't the secret. The business model was. The food wasn't the empire. The system was. And that lesson applies far beyond McDonald's. Whether you're building a business, learning a skill, creating content, or trying to improve your finances. Always ask yourself, am I chasing income or am I building assets? Because one pays you today, the other can pay you for years. And that's the billion-dollar lesson McDonald's teaches the world. Not how to sell burgers, but how to think bigger, how to build systems, how to create assets, and how to turn a simple idea into an empire. The next time you see a McDonald's restaurant, don't just see burgers, see the land, see the systems, see the strategy. Because once you understand that, you'll understand why McDonald's isn't really a burger company. It's one of the greatest business machines ever built, and that's what made it worth billions.